4 years ago, he was the #1 high school player in the nation. 2 years ago, he averaged 18 points a game as a rookie. Now, there's a good chance Jahlil Okafor doesn't even make an NBA roster. What's good, everybody? New reports have just come out from NBA insiders, who indicated that there's a high chance Jahlil Okafor won't be playing in the league next season. That is completely absurd, considering that people were comparing him to Tim Duncan just a few years back. Coming out of high school in Chicago and then Duke University, Okafor was seen as the most polished and skilled offensive big man in years, and was supposed to be the safe pick, the can't-miss prospect, the type of player where you'd hear, well, at least he won't be a bust. Clearly, all that wasn't the case. Over the past couple years, Okafor's career has turned out to be one of the bigger collapses in recent memory. And what it all really came down to was horrible timing. Here's what I mean. It's easy to forget that in 2014, when Okafor was the #1 player in the nation, the best big men in the league were made up of guys like Dwight Howard, Marc Gasol, Joakim Noah, and Roy Hibbert. Yeah, looking back now, it was a dark time for centers. But at that time, that's what a good center looked like. All they really needed to be able to do was either protect the paint or score in the low post. You didn't even have to do both. You just had to be solid at one. But it was also right around this time, thankfully for the game, that everything started to change. And within pretty much a couple of years, a new era of big men was ushered in. Anthony Davis, a 6'11" beastly shot blocker with handles like a guard, was a bit ahead of his time, but was probably the first of the new era. But it was the Warriors' title run in 2015 that really set things off, as they revolutionized small ball and the three-point shot. Ironically, it was only weeks after the Warriors won that Okafor was taken #3 in the draft by the 76ers. And like I said, it seemed like a really solid, safe pick. But if you looked around, you could already see the words written on the walls around Jahlil. The #1 pick in that same draft was Karl Anthony Towns, and #4 was Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn himself. And if Porzingis is the unicorn, Okafor should be called the dinosaur, because first of all, he looks like a dinosaur, but also because he was kind of already a thing of the past. Sure, he had himself a respectable rookie year, don't get it twisted, but even that year, it was clear that Okafor only had one dimension to his game: post-scoring, and that simply wasn't enough. As time has gone on, the modern big has continued to evolve, with guys like Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and the crop of newer guys including DeAndre Ayton, Jaren Jackson, and Wendell Carter, all continuing to push the limits of what a big man could do on the court. And there were also guys like Brook Lopez and Boogie Cousins, who have adapted their games to fit the modern style. But those that didn't adapt were all left in the dust. Just think about those guys I mentioned earlier. Dwight Howard and Marc Gasol have fallen off. Joakim Noah and Roy Hibbert aren't even in the league. And at this point, it looks like Jahlil might have to join. Again, the collapse and disappointment of Jahlil Okafor's career were really a case of horrible timing. If he was born 5 years earlier, he could have been a superstar. 5 years later, and he would have never been expected to be great, and he wouldn't have had to deal with the extra pressure of being a top prospect. He was the last of a dying breed. But at the same time, the fall of Jahlil Okafor and the traditional big man in general helped lead to the birth of something incredible: the age of the unicorn. That's all I got for this one, guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button, join the Wolf Pack. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm out.